What is up, wrestling fans? It's that time of the week for the Fanlight Wrestling Team to talk all things pro wrestling and call it right down the middle. That's right, it's time for this week's edition of 607 TWS, the wrestling show, and it is powered by FanlightZone.com. I am your host. My name is Rich, and don't adjust your sets. We have a different person in the seat this week because Miss Sammy is on assignment and Ken M is, out saving the world from something.
He's in parts unknown.
There you go. Now, though, joining us for the first time here on 607 TWS, well, at least here in the new form of it as Fanlight Zone.
Yes.
He is the co-host of the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour podcast, better known as the ODPH. He is the human encyclopedia of all things that are Star Wars. But most importantly to this show, he is a pro wrestling aficionado. It is the one and only Padawan J. Welcome to 607 TWS.
Thank you for having me. My appearances on this show, I believe, are in the single digits. So, folks, me appearing here is like getting Undertaker at a house show at the end of his career. It is very rare.
It is very rare, and it, we'll see it. Hopefully, it's better performance than the Undertaker at a house show at the end of his career.
True.
Or whatever happened there in Saudi Arabia that one time. Hey. But anyways,
my memory's gone blank.
Anyways, it is always a great time to talk some pro wrestling with everybody on a Thursday night. But before we dive into the show, because we got a big one. Lots of things happen.
Yeah.
You can tell by the graphic I showed earlier. Lots of new champions, including world heavyweight champions, main belts. It's insane that what went on this past week between both WWE and AEW. So it wasn't just one or the other. Also, we got to talk about what's going on with Sheamus and everything else. But before we jump into all of that, we got to remind everybody where to go. We are powered by FanlightZone.com. So head over to FanlightZone.com. There you can find all of the great comic book reviews we do, including Padawan J and myself, where we're doing that every single week. You're going to find the best in comic book reviews there, as well as pop culture. And also while you're there, you can check out all of the wonderful links to all of our social medias. So you're going to make sure you want to follow us there because there's video reviews and all sorts of content we post throughout the week there as well. Of course, also this show, when it's live, is on Twitch and X. So if you're joining us on there, make sure you're following us as well. But if you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're watching us on the other ones, make sure you get over to the YouTube at the end of the show because you're going to want to make sure you smash that subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications so you know whenever we go live or a new video gets posted. And of course, hit that thumbs up to help us conquer the algorithm. By the way, shout outs to the new people subscribing. We had a big week because if you haven't seen it already, we have a great interview with the legendary Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
That was, by the way, peek behind the curtain. I know we're talking wrestling. Peek behind the curtain, though. I'm still giddy about it.
I can imagine.
I don't know how I didn't fanboy out about it when it was happening.
Oh, I know.
In the moment. But I am still giddy about it. So
I've experienced something similar. I know how it feels.
It's very awesome. And I'm not just saying that because I was part of the interview. Check it out. He actually gave us a lot. I mean, I was very happy. I said this to everybody, and I'll make it public. Sometimes they tell you don't meet your heroes because they'll let you down. Never mind. Todd McFarlane not only lived up to everything, but surpassed it and then some. So make sure you check out that interview. And then also, if you happen to be at San Diego Comic-Con, go by and say hi to him. Yeah. Because he's phenomenal.
Tell him we Fanlight's on Sunshine.
That's right. We'll be seeing him in New York. So I'm just throwing it out there. Great time. But enough about me personally fanboying out. Enough about, comic books and Todd McFarlane. Not that we don't care because we do. That's what we love. But we also love pro wrestling. And we got a lot of pro wrestling talk to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's dive into something a little more in the rumor mill. But obviously, I say rumor mill, but there's something that's going to happen.
Right.
So we know. So let's go with the facts and then we'll go with the innuendo, right?
Sure.
So what we know is that Sheamus is departing World Wrestling Entertainment as of right now. He is. So what this is his contract is going to be up. He is not resigning as of now.
Right.
Granted, that could all change. But that is the facts. Yep. As of right now, when Sheamus's contract expires, which I do believe is by the end of this month, he will no longer be employed by World Wrestling Entertainment in TKO. Once again, they could change this. There could be negotiations. Usually how this works is if he decides to go feel out, they usually get a counter offer. Now let's dive into the innuendos. And obviously we'll wait to talk about his landing part because that's the bigger part. But the biggest innuendo going around right now is that it is of the opinion of many. It has been reported by many. Once again, take it with a grain of salt, if you will, but they're proud, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire, because we know this has happened. It appears that Sheamus was offered one of these pulled back contracts that they've been offering people lately.
Right.
So if you don't remember, the part of the reason why the New Day is no longer in WWE and a few other talents, but the New Day, is notably, is because they were offered allegedly, and I'm pretty sure when they talk, we'll find out,
that interview's coming.
Yeah. They basically were offered these pulled back contracts. So what TKO is doing is trying to basically make people sign deals for less than.
Right.
And they have high incentives.
Right.
But they're tied into performance.
Right.
And, and here's the thing, Padawan Jay. We both like real sports.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that wrestling is not a real athletic competition, but it is a work.
Yeah.
In the sports world, the incentive-based contracts make sense.
Yep.
Because I can hit my incentives.
Yep.
It's all up to how I play. If we're both Yankee fans,
yep.
If Aaron Judge hits X amount of home runs, he gets an X amount bonus.
Makes sense.
Okay, cool. Because he can hit X amount of home runs.
Right.
Here's where I have a problem with it in the wrestling world. And before I pass it to you, you don't have control of your performance.
No.
They can stop booking you at any time.
Right.
It might be, hey, you have to make X amount of shows. Well, hey, back when there was house shows all the time, maybe easy to do. Now there's not house shows all the time.
No.
So now you have to really rely. But you know what? Hey, okay, cool. I know I'm going to hit it. I need to make an appearance at 40 shows, 50 shows, whatever it is a year, right?
Right.
Next thing you know, they're like, hey, we stopped booking you.
Yep.
And here's the thing. Here's the real, I understand it's a conspiracy theory on some ends, but it's not on the others. They might even be counting that or counting on that. They might be looking at people's incentive pay and going, all right, well, he's got 10 more appearances before we have to pay him the next tier.
Right.
So we're only going to use him 5 more appearances for the year.
Right.
And if I'm a wrestler on the roster and I get offered one of these deals, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because obviously these deals aren't going to guys that they're going to use every week or that they're going to use. CM Punk ain't signing this deal.
Oh, God,
Roman Reigns ain't signing this deal. Seth
No.
Rollins ain't signing this deal. Cody Rhodes ain't signing this deal. Right? These restructured contracts are going to be the guys that are on the cusp.
Right.
And granted, you could still make those incentives because maybe you catch fire and they're like, okay, well, we have to pay him, right?
Right.
But there's a chance that you're not.
Yeah.
Because the roster's bloated. There's already too many people.
Yeah.
So I think that these incentive-based, restrictive contracts, not so great in pro wrestling. What say you about Sheamus possibly having that possibly being the offer for Sheamus in your thoughts overall on these pulled back contracts?
If that is the case for Sheamus, that they're giving him the incentive-based contract, as has been alluded to, I understand why he's leaving. You know what? It's like you said, it makes sense for a professional baseball player. It makes sense for a player in the NFL. It makes sense for a player in the NBA. These are all tangible things you can hit. Whereas where you're in pro wrestling, it's like you said, you could go and you could be on featured on a story on the main roster, be it Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and then all of a sudden you're just off of TV. Case in point I can give is Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller had his whole thing going on, and then I want to say there might have been an injury at some point along the lane. He was off TV, but now all of a sudden he's fallen off the face of the earth, metaphorically speaking. And I completely forgot he was even on the roster until I was scrolling through social media today and saw he's appearing on Main Event. The formerly Hulu show, but I think it's on YouTube now. Yeah. So you could have something go like that. You alluded to, the house shows that if you were doing incentive-based contracts and you're still doing the house show tour like they used to, that would make a lot of sense. We used to be on a regular rotation here in our area for the house shows that I know at one point they were coming to at least twice a year. Because I was looking up the other day trying to remember, the first house show I went to just to see what the card was like, because I couldn't remember for the life of me. And then it got to thinking, the last time they came through on a house show here was before I got married in 2024. It was in June of 2024. They haven't been back since. And let's not forget, you can find the episode somewhere online, and I'm not condoning anything, but this is a town that used to host Monday Night Raw back in the day. So it makes sense if you're, Garrett Cole or Paul Skeens in the Major League Baseball, like, oh, hey, if you hit 400 strikeouts in the season, you get paid, $50,000. Total sense. but for pro wrestling, makes no sense. So if that is the case with Sheamus, I don't fault him for walking away and seeing where he might get his money elsewhere.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the whole nice part about having elsewhere to go. Like I this is why I will never complain about having more places to work for the workers.
Right.
Because this is what leads to having these options. Because if not, he would have just had to eat it.
Yeah.
And, and let's be honest, let's not going over his whole body of work, but Sheamus is one title away from winning every title in WWE.
He's what, the IC title away from Grand Slam?
Yep, it's the IC title. But he's held every other belt. He's held defunct belts that don't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
He is a former King of the Ring. He is a former Royal Rumble winner.
Money in the Bank.
He has won Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
He is a surefire Hall of Famer, no matter how you cut it.
Absolutely.
And here's my problem with this. If he wants to scale back, and I'm not saying to give him the biggest contract of all time.
Sure.
Obviously, he's aging up, and not saying he's too old, because there's guys who are doing it, and I think he's still doing it at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
But but still don't disrespect the man and be like, hey, we're just going to kind of screw you over with this very restricted contract. And if that's the case. And so he's doing the right thing, in my opinion, because once again, like I said, he's not completely out the door.
No,
because here's the thing. He can go out. He's going to go get offers. He's going to get offers.
Oh,
TNA
100%.
Wrestling will be offering him money. AEW will be offering him money. I promise you that much.
Oh, yeah.
However, he's going to go back as a smart businessman and see if WWE is like, hey, I'm going to give you one last shot.
Yep. Here's what they're offering me. Match it.
Match it. And, and if I'm Tony Khan, I'm going to offer him, because the pockets are deep.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Tony Khan can start doing what WWE was doing to him for a while, knowing that they're doing these contracts. And I think he should start offering a little more. And I'm not saying that in a way that I want him to go broke, because I don't want him to go broke.
But you can push the scales.
But if you know what these restructured deals are looking like, if you know what they're looking like, and you can go, let's see. What is outside of it? Just a little bit. Not too much to break the bank, but just enough to either force them to pay more than they want to, or let us have people. I would get to my revenge that way.
Oh, absolutely.
And I've given this credit to Tony Khan in recent months. Especially, he has become a lot better of a promoter and a lot better of a businessman over his time running. Right now, he's doing a really, really good job. So he understands these things, and I think that that's going to be a mistake for TKO going forward. I've said this before, and I've said it again. TKO is standing on the edge of a cliff, and they don't realize it yet.
Yeah.
Or if they do, they're too dumb to do anything about it, because they're teetering. And in the houses are light.
Yep.
I brought it up last week. They were coming to Albany for SmackDown, Albany, New York, which is about 2 hours from where we live. I've been to shows there before. I've seen WWE there before. I've seen AEW there before.
Yep.
They were coming to the MVP arena, and I got a message about buy one, get one tickets.
Oh, wow.
You never got that from WWE before.
No.
They're doing buy one, get one in a wrestling town. Albany is a wrestling town.
And Albany from us is only 2 hours away.
Right.
So that's easily driving distance.
Right. And that's scary that they're doing in a wrestling town in New York.
Yeah.
They're literally doing buy one, get ones to try to fill the building. And mind you, it's because they've outpriced themselves in tickets. But now you're going to be doing stuff with talent. Now, granted, I just said it, everybody's going to offer him, but let's be honest, the real landing spot, if WWE does not retain him, is AEW. But I gotta be a forewarning. We call it right down the middle, Pat. We call it right down the middle. And calling it right down the middle says this, because I know a lot of people are speculating. And then, there was a lot of people who were like, oh, we don't need WWE rejects. And then the next minute, we're like, oh, man, we're getting Sheamus.
Right. They get excited.
And once again, I'm fine with getting excited. Just don't say the first part.
Right.
You should never say that about not getting talent, because you should always want talent, especially talent that can put asses in the seats. Right. And Sheamus is one of those guys.
Absolutely.
The problem is that we're going to talk about later in the show. At the last segment, we'll be honest with everybody. We're going to talk about CM Punk winning the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Undisputed Championship, I should say, on Raw, right?
Yep.
And instantly, the only reason I'm bringing it up now is instantly, we saw the discourse online being like, oh man, Sami Zayn, if he was in another company, and they mean AEW, they wouldn't have disrespected him like this with a 9-day title run. And I'm like, and this is no disrespect to AEW, because I'm gonna defend them at the same time I say this. How can you say that's true? You have Claudio Castagnoli, who has never been an AEW champion. True. I know a tag champion, I know a Ring of Honor champion, I know CMLL champion, but has he held the AEW World Championship?
Nope.
No. Even though people thought he was going to. Is there still time for him to do? Absolutely.
Yeah.
However, and I'm not faulting them for it. I'll talk about that in a minute. How about Bobby Lashley?
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley is a surefire guy that could be a main eventer. All he's done is tag team wrestling there. Once again, I'm not crucifying him, I'm just pointing out facts.
Right.
So going there, and the list goes on and on. I'm just listing those two as the top two because Sheamus fits in with those two perfectly, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sami Zayn would as well. Here's the thing. And this is like I said, the reason it's not disrespect is just like WWE, AEW has a bloated roster. We've talked about it many times.
Yeah.
And right now we're about to talk about in a minute, Kenny Omega becoming world champion. You have MJF in the main event scene. Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega are going to presumably main event Wembley unless Omega drops the belt between now and Wembley because there is a pay-per-view in between.
Right.
We have a lot of working parts and moving parts here. But you look at that top tier. You look at that main event scene in AEW and you go, where does a Sheamus fit in? And I'm not saying you can't make him fit.
Right.
I'm saying, but where does he fit in coming off? You already have a pretty top heavy, great, you have Swerve Strickland, you have Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, MJF, you have, and not even names of Andrade's making his way to that top scene as he should, because right now he's doing some amazing work. You have a whole litany of guys that are right around that. You got Kyle Fletcher on the rise, right?
Oh yeah.
You got a lot of guys that are getting it done in that top scene. So to break into that top is hard. Now, mind you, they have a great mid card.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. So you're going to have bangers.
Oh yeah.
We can get the Bar return. You got Sheamus join the Death Riders and you got the Bar return. And that would help the tag team division because their tag team division has been really good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But think about it. The Bar added to the tag team division representing the Death Riders.
Right.
Good stuff right there.
Yeah.
You could then have that, that would build a feud eventually between the two. You have built-in feuds with a bunch of guys like Bobby Lashley and so on and so forth. And then you have all the new talent that you could just I'm thinking about guys like Mark Davis that Sheamus is going to have a war with.
Oh yeah.
Roosh, who works a little snug.
Yeah.
All the guys who work that strong style, which there's no problem with that in my opinion, because I love it. But Sheamus is going to have some bangers over there.
Oh, absolutely.
So as a wrestling fan, I am excited for the possibility of Sheamus to go to AEW. I think that would be the best landing spot for Sheamus.
Yeah.
Before I kick it to you. But I also want to tell the fans, be leery. Don't think that he's going to go over there and become world champion because you have a title picture. You have all the guys. And I forgot to even mention Hangman Page amongst others. You already have a really robust and great main event scene.
Yeah.
He's not going to just enter that scene.
No.
Even though he's a name. But there's so many cool things you can do with him that it's still worth it. Your thoughts?
No, I agree 100%. I think if he'd have tried to make the jump over right after WrestleMania, what was it? The one in Hollywood, 39, where he had that triple threat with him, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther. If he'd have gone over right after then, easy slotting right into the main event. But not taking anything away from him, he's had some time since then, and not saying he's put on bad work, but what's the last memorable program you can say he was in? And again, nothing against him. It's how he was booked. It's, I'm not saying he can't wrestle a good match, but if you're going to have him go over there and you're going to have him in the main event picture, you've got to do a little bit of work. You've got to put in a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and it's going to be some time, Could it work? I think so. But could you go in right now and have him legitimately contend for the main event picture and have folks believe it? I'm not 100% sure. I think AEW makes the most sense. Don't threaten me with a New Japan run because there's some amazing New Japan matches he could have. But I think right now, listen, if he wants to leave WWE, that's fine. As we listed some of his credentials, he has literally done almost everything in WWE he can outside of the Intercontinental Championship. So if he wants to go test the waters elsewhere and see what the other pastures in the field are like, hey, go for it.
Absolutely. And to your point about the New Japan run, going to AEW helps that.
Yeah.
Because then you can go do spots in New Japan. You can go do spots in CMLL and still get paid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me as a wrestling fan and somebody who worked in the wrestling business, the most attractive thing to me about AEW is that.
Yeah.
I was very critical, especially because of being from indie wrestling and loving indie wrestling, of when indie guys would go to AEW and they would go down. And I mean, I know that still happens in some of the bigger indies, which is fine when they have guys go down to help out. But I was always like, hey, if you're a big star on the indies, doing jobs on dark isn't really helping, right?
No.
And that's fine. And once again, no shot, no shade. But if you are a top tier guy and you wanted to go to New Japan and you wanted to go to CMLL, you want to wrestle in Mexico, Japan, around the world in these big companies, AEW has an avenue for you to do all of that while still having a home base.
Right.
And that is, to me, the most attractive thing, because as I'm with you, Sheamus in New Japan, the style he wrestles a strong style. He wrestles a snug style, and that's going to come over wonderfully in the Japanese style. Let's stay in AEW. I know we started with Sheamus, but let's go to stay in AEW. Big event happened last night on Dynamite, Beach Break, and hell, whew.
Oh, baby.
Listen, talk about some things. I mean, I'm going to list them all off, and we're going to talk about the last one first, and then we'll go in reverse. But we had the crowning of a new international champion as the proto star, Kyle Fletcher, who is now starting to slowly win me over, defeated Takeshita to become the AEW International Champion.
Yep.
A little dissension in the ranks of the Don Callis family. We'll talk about that in a minute. We had the return of Willow Nightingale.
Yeah.
Willow Nightingale, unfortunately, due to injury, I've been saying I was pretty sure she was slated to win the Owen and go on to Wembley, take on Tekla, win the belt probably. Now we had to call in the reliever, which is Mercedes Moné. But now Willow Nightingale wins a casino gauntlet match and is now the number one contender at Redemption at the end of July to take on Tekla for the AEW Women's World Championship, which means she could possibly punch her ticket to the August 30th show, and it could be her and Mercedes Moné. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But the big thing, all that was big. The biggest thing, though, main event of the evening, MJF putting the AEW World Heavyweight Championship on the line against the cleaner, the best bout machine, Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega putting his AEW the right to face for that title ever again, not just against MJF, but ever again.
That's like his Cody stipulation.
And by the way, MJF is full of taking people's I think Hangman Adam Page lost his right to him as well. But here's the thing. Kenny Omega gets it done and is your new AEW World's Heavyweight Champion. We do have some time, but on the surface, it looks like it's going to be Omega Ospreay 3 at Wembley Stadium for All In. Once again, that could change. We do have time. We do have the Redemption pay-per-view in between and a bunch of episodes of Dynamite, obviously, between now and August 30th. But just on the surface, I know you're not the biggest AEW fan. You don't watch all the stuff, but this was a pretty big deal. Wouldn't you say Kenny Omega winning the belt? Yeah,
no, this definitely, I don't watch everything AEW, but I do keep up on it. And I do get, follow some of the storylines. Was pleasantly surprised about this, especially given Kenny Omega's recent health and time away. I wasn't quite sure if they'd go the full tilt and give him the full run. I was kind of concerned when they did the stipulation of, hey, if you lose this match, you can't qualify for it ever again. Which, depending on how you look at it, could tip the prediction in one way or the other, but was pleasantly surprised to see it. I'm excited to see where they go with it from here because, baby, could have a heck of a run down here in the upcoming weeks.
Absolutely. Here's what I'm excited for. I said before, Wembley was already set up well for the main event. MJF versus Ospreay, your best heel against your biggest babyface. Of course, that biggest babyface hometown. And in the biggest building possible. We're trying to put 100,000 asses in seats. Could possibly happen.
Don't care how much people love Kenny Omega. He ain't getting cheered in Wembley.
Oh, probably not. He'll get cheered when he comes out, but not during the match. Let's be honest. But here's the thing. You have the possibility of putting 100,000 asses in seats. And I've said it before. I think they have a strong possibility just with the fact that you have this world title match. Plus, on top of that, you have the possibility, I'm telling you it's going to happen. It's one of the things that I'm pretty sure is going to happen, a 4-way table, ladders, and chairs match where you're going to have Cope and Cage, FTR, the Young Bucks, and the New Day.
That's probably going to happen.
So I'm just going to throw this out there. This is one of those things that we're going to reel out there. I think nothing against MJF, who I think the world of. I think that a lot of people thought that he was the next generation of The Miz. I think everybody was wrong, and I've said it before. I think he's the next generation of Ric Flair. I think he is every bit as good as he is, and that's not a shot at The Miz. I think The Miz is very talented, and I think The Miz does what he does very well. However, I think MJF is the complete total package as far as everything. He's got the look, the charisma, the skills on the mic, the skills in the ring.
Agreed.
He can work both babyface and heel, as we've seen.
Agreed.
Very well on both. So I don't think this hurts him at all. Here's the thing. He's 30 years old this year. He's going to have more of these events. Will Ospreay, he's a little over 30. Not much over 30, but a little over. I do believe 34. I didn't look it up here. But it's somewhere there. Kenny Omega, though, me and Kenny Omega are the same age. And that's not a shot. He's 43. And he had that health scare. This is his last. I'm not saying his last time wrestling because I think he's still got a few years in the tank. But this is possibly we're that at the level he's wrestling, and he's said it himself. So this is not me being disrespectful. how much does he have with those injuries and the sickness and everything to be at the level of what he looks to? And I don't think he's going to be one of those guys. I think when he deteriorates a little bit, when him in the ring isn't getting it done, I don't think he's going to hang on like Tanahashi. No offense, because I love the Ace.
Agreed.
I don't think he's going to hang on like Jericho. No offense, because I love Jericho.
Right.
I think that he is going to say, okay, I can't get it done to my standard.
Right.
And I'm going to go off in the sunset. So realistically, this is his last run.
Agreed.
And whether that ends at Wembley or not is irrelevant, because here's the thing. We haven't gotten the rubber match between him and Ospreay.
True.
And this has been one of those things. And it's a feud that has been built off of originally off of hatred, originally off of jealousy. That's what they built it off of Will Ospreay wanting to be Kenny Omega in New Japan. And now it's more built off of respect. They have fought their way through jealousy, anger, angst, and now we're on respect. They fought in New Japan. Both of their home away from homes, where Will Ospreay came up with a win. They fought in Canada, where Kenny Omega on his home turf got the win. Now it's time to fight in England, where Will Ospreay's home turf. So now one or two things can happen here, and this is why this is the big story. A, we're going to get a tremendous match. We're going to get one of. We were talking about it before that Mask versus Mask is probably match of the year. That's the one to beat. That's the bar that everybody is going to try to beat this year. I think that's fair. Ospreay Omega has the possibility of beating that.
It's got a strong candidacy for it. That's for sure.
I'm not saying it's going to, but it's got. You're right. It could beat it, and that in its own is exciting. So I like this idea of hopefully Kenny Omega continuing to be champion and building this respect feud all the way to Wembley. So when we get to Wembley, we have one of the greatest main events for a title of all time. And possibly match of the year. And definitely match of your quality. Match. And nothing against, once again, nothing against MJF. If they went back to MJF and we got the best heel against the best face, I'm about that too. I think you're leaving money on the table. Tony Khan, I think, knows that as well. This is going to be, I think, one of your last opportunities to get Will Ospreay in his prime against Kenny Omega, who can still put on the best bout of the night.
Absolutely. You don't want to leave anything on the table. You don't want to leave any possibilities, any dream matches that you could have done and sit there and go, if only we could have done this or we could have. Now, listen, this is Kenny Omega's last great run. I'm not saying he can't have more runs in the future, but let's face it, the mileage he's got behind him is greater than the mileage he's got ahead of him, just in terms of the pro wrestling mileage. So if you're going to make this your last great run, if I'm Kenny Omega, go for broke, baby.
And like I said, I really think that he's going to be like AJ Styles. And when it's not when he can't do it anymore. It's going to be when I can't do it to my level anymore. AJ still went out when he was still putting on the best match of the night.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think Kenny Omega is going to go out when he can still put on the best match of the night. And that doesn't mean, once again, just like AJ Styles, that doesn't mean he might not come back and have a little tag match here, a little something there. You know what I mean? And that's the nice part about it. When you get to that part, you can have that beautiful moment. Something like Bryan Danielson has done. You know what I mean? Where he hasn't had the full on match, if you will, but he's come in and made some spots. And that's a good place to be. And I think that that's a great place for Kenny Omega as well. But I'm super excited that we're possibly going to get Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega at Wembley Stadium. You're possibly going to have 100,000 people there, 90,000 people. I guarantee you there's at least 90,000. At
least, especially given, the whole ticket thing and how expensive they are for WWE. If people are going to make a choice, they're going to go for the cheaper option.
Well, that, and also, let's be honest, they're putting together a hell of a card. And AEW, to their credit, and we've said this coming into this year a lot on this show, Pat, is that they have in the last 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, even we'll just say from the past year, have really built a quality product that is really starting to look like the promise that it always had. I think in a lot of ways, AEW is better than it was in 2019.
Agreed.
In 2020, I think that they've really hit their stride and going forward. And like I said, that's all kudos to this influx of talent, the MJFs, the Will Ospreys, the Swerve Stricklands of the world. Then you have the guys that come in like the Samoa Joes, the John Moxleys, the Kenny Omegas of the world, who are there as the guys, the veterans in the locker room who love putting the young guys over. Then you got guys like Takeshita there doing great things, and the Protostar Kyle Fletcher, which we're going to talk about right now. Kyle Fletcher, Takeshita had an amazing match on Dynamite, amazing match, which we knew they would.
Kyle Fletcher
walks out your new international champion. We'll just talk about that on the basis. I was very harsh on Kyle Fletcher. I don't know what you know about Kyle Fletcher, but he's kind of winning me over.
You know, I'd seen the highlights. I'd watched some clips. I wasn't necessarily that impressed when I first started hearing about him, but slowly, like you, he started to win me over, and I'm starting to get impressed.
Yeah, and he started to put a gimmick together.
Yeah,
I think that was the biggest thing that I had. He can do all the moves. He kind of, I would say that he was Will Ospreay light because he kind of is. He's Will Ospreay's boy.
Yeah,
makes sense, But giving him all the credit in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Dude is doing some really cool stuff now, and then he's coming into that protostar gimmick. But not just the match was great. Him and Takeshita had a great match, but I like the aftermatch.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that you could see something in his eyes. Like he's starting to sell some things. When Don Callis brings out his crown jewel right now of Kevin Knight with the TNT champion. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
the TNT champion Kevin Knight, and Kevin Knight's kind of talking down about time, and Kyle Fletcher's looking at him like, I can beat you now.
Yeah.
Like, why? Whoa. You ain't safe. And then Don Callis talking about how Kevin Knight is, Kevin Knight says he wants the next shot at the world champion, no matter who it is. And Don Callis is co-signing, and Kyle Fletcher standing there like, I don't know about this.
Right.
And then you top it off with a cherry because you bring out Andrade.
Yeah.
Andrade, to his credit, has been just phenomenal on this run in AEW.
Yeah.
He's back to that. I always say, he's back to when we all fell in love with him in NXT.
Oh yeah.
So
great runs.
And he's doing big things right now, and I can see that going far. And I just thought it was a great segment overall. Your thoughts? I know you saw the highlights.
Saw the highlights. It was a tremendous segment. I'm interested to see where it goes, and you had a little bit of development with it, but I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, I hate the Don Callis family. I hate the idea of it because there's just too many people. But right now, it's getting a little interesting. And if they can keep it up, kudos to them.
Mm-hmm.
Last but not least, on a big night on Dynamite, but Willow Nightingale makes a return. One of the most popular and over and deservedly so women's wrestlers in not just AEW, but in wrestling, period.
Mm-hmm.
Out on the shelf, kind of lost an opportunity in a lot of our opinions of winning the Owen Hart Cup because I kind of felt like that was her spot before she got injured.
Right.
Instead, to her credit, I put her over for it. Mercedes Moné coming back when she wasn't necessarily going to come back, right? Kind of came back and said, hey, I'm going to bail everybody out. We're going to do it good. I'm going to win back-to-back Owens. I'm punching my ticket. And we're all like, okay, great. We're going to get Mercedes Moné versus Tekla. Great match. By the way, if that still happens, great match.
Yeah.
Now, a little wrinkle in the road.
Mm-hmm.
Willow Nightingale comes back. She wins the casino gauntlet match. She's punching her ticket to Montreal, Quebec, Canada to take on Tekla at the end of this month on the Redemption pay-per-view with the AEW Women's World title online. There's a rich storyline between her and Mercedes Moné. Mercedes, and I'm telling you, great storyline. If you don't know, basically Willow Nightingale is the person that Mercedes just can't beat.
Right.
Like she has a very bad record against Willow Nightingale.
Yeah, I forget what it is, but it's something crazy.
And of course, she originally got injured, and that's why she dropped. That's why she didn't win the first ever New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Willow Nightingale did. That's why Mercedes didn't.
Right.
Later on, she would get that. However, later on, when she was the queen of the belts, she lost the TBS Championship to Willow Nightingale. And now we're looking like we're going in. And I love Mercedes is such a pro. On Dynamite, she gives those facial features of like worry when she sees her. And when she wins, it's even more like, damn.
Yeah.
Like I like my chances against Tekla.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I can't defeat Willow Nightingale.
Right.
So I think if you're telling that story, if Willow Nightingale wins the belt, and I'd hate to see her lose it in a month, but it would make perfect sense for Mercedes Moné to finally get the AEW Women's World title and to conquer Willow Nightingale and then have them come back together. I think it's a great rich story. I think they've got a lot going on. Yeah. What is your thoughts of the women's world title picture in AEW with Willow Nightingale back?
One of the more interesting, storylines they got going, and I can't believe I'm saying that just because, there have been other promotions that have had a better women's division, but the AEW slowly winning me over. And I will say with Willow Nightingale, if you're not familiar with her work, because maybe you just haven't checked out some of her matches, or you've gotten up to get yourself a snack during one of her matches, do yourself a favor, go check out some of her matches, because you know what? It might not win you over at first, but you start to watch it and you start to see it develop. You'll grow and you'll start to like it.
Absolutely. Last but not least, before we jump off at AEW, big re-signing for them.
Yeah.
Coming into this past week, there was a lot of speculation about the future of Jungle Jack Perry.
Yeah.
Of course, formerly known as the Scapegoat, formerly known as Jungle Boy. I think that Jack Perry, and I've said this before, really caught fire when he did the Scapegoat character. After everything that happened with CM Punk, he came out of that, I think, better than anybody else in that situation.
Yeah.
CM Punk, even though, yes, you could argue, went back to WWE, he's main evented a couple WrestleManias. He's been the world heavyweight champion, now the undisputed WWE champion. You would say, oh, it's worked out pretty well for him, and it has.
Yeah.
But he still had kind of a black eye regardless. Because at the end of the day, and this is no offense to Jack Perry, at the end of the day, regardless of what you see or not see in that video, which was dumb for them to show, you have a veteran in CM Punk basically putting in, once again, no disrespect to Jack Perry, a very small Jack Perry in a front face lock.
Yeah, and the list of things that makes sense, that's not on the list.
You're bullying Jack Perry. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I love Jack Perry as a performer. And I think he's very talented. But at the end of the day, he's not the biggest guy in the room. It's not like Punk walked up and smacked Samoa Joe in the face, right?
No.
That's a little different, right? He didn't go out there and fight Samoa Joe. He went out there and fought Jack Perry.
Right.
And no offense. Once again, am I sure Jack Perry can handle his own? Absolutely. But at the same point in juncture, it carries different weight. So you're looking at Tony Khan, of course, had a lot of egg on his face. He's even addressed that. Like when he returned to Ariel Helwani and him, they had the little come together there. It was very nice to see that Tony Khan said, if I had to do it again, I would do it differently. And then said everything. And you're like, oh crap. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I wish you would have done that originally. But once again, had some egg on his face. So the only one that didn't have egg on their face, I mean, kind of did, because they sent him home.
Yep.
But then he creates the Scapegoat character.
Yep.
And gets over.
Yeah.
Real over. And I was kind of upset when they went away from Scapegoat to go back to this a more manly version of, if you will, of Jungle Boy. So Jungle Jack Perry. But it's worked out well.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of rumors.
Yeah.
There was a Forest Boy. Did you see that?
I heard something about that. I heard something about that.
Yeah, there was that was just fans doing fan things. But I guarantee there was interest for more wrestling entertainment. How could there not be?
You would figure.
He's been a pillar of AEW.
Yeah,
that alone is going to get you interest, and he's a talented young man, and he's got a lot of time on his side. I said he's a young man.
Yeah.
So the fact that AEW was able to get back one of their pillars and not lose them to the evil empire, if you will, I think that was a good move for two reasons. I'm thinking that it shows business wise what we've been saying on this show.
Yep.
That AEW is more attractive than ever.
Oh yeah.
Like they literally are a home where people are going to start deciding to go, not just because people are offering big paychecks,
right,
or any of that.
Right.
Literally, they're an option. That shows that, firstly. And secondly, I think for Jack Perry, he's where he needs to be. Look at his contemporaries. Look at the other pillars. The other pillars, depending upon who you want to put on that list.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's changed over time. But the pillars were originally MJF,
right,
Darby Allin,
right,
Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and Britt Baker. Britt Baker's MIA.
Yeah.
But she was an AEW Women's World Champion.
Yeah.
Then you have MJF, former 3-time world champion.
Right.
You have Darby Allin, former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Jack Perry, if I'm looking at that list, I'm going, it's only a matter of time.
Oh, absolutely.
And I believe that in a good way.
Yeah.
It might not be this year, it might not be next year, but it's only a matter of time before he's the World Heavyweight Champion. And once again, that goes on the new list. If you're going by the new pillars, I would say on that list would be Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
And I don't count, and everybody's going to be like, well, why don't you count Hangman or Swerve? Swerve's the franchise. Swerve is your franchise player. He doesn't need to be a pillar. He's the franchise.
Yep.
He's the guy. Hangman Adam Page is the guy.
Yep.
Will Ospreay is the guy. Like there's a difference there. Kenny Omega and John Moxley are the elder statesmen. So isn't Samoa Joe.
Yep.
But here's the thing. Everybody fits their role, and a pillar to me is a young guy who is going to hold this company up going forward.
Oh yeah.
Those guys that we listed, Swerve and Hangman and Ospreay and Omega and Joe and everybody else, they're that top tier foundation that those pillars hold up. So if those pillars are strong and they're getting the job done, they're the next up, firstly. And secondly, they're holding that up.
Yep.
And right now, everything's going well. So do you think this is a great or good or whatever business move by Jack Perry to stay with All Elite Wrestling with all that being said?
For Jack Perry, I think it was brilliant. And I think it was a great idea for him because let's face it, could he have gone over to WWE? Yes. But I think with the state WWE is in, be it Raw, SmackDown, even if they gave him a run on NXT, there's a lot of folks on those 3 shows that, listen, he's good. I like the talent in the ring, but I think he would get lost in the shuffle. That Could he do it in a couple of years when maybe, the crowd is thinned out a little bit and there's not as much bodies in the queue, in the line, so to speak? Absolutely. But right now, maybe not the best time. So for right now, he's in the best place he could be.
It's kind of the same, but a little different for Sheamus to me.
Mm-hmm.
So Sheamus can go over there and he can fill a role. Once again, could be in a tag team again with Claudio, join the Death Riders. He'd be a perfect fit.
Yeah.
It would add to the tag team division. That's already the best tag team division in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're going to add another great team there. Or even if he does singles, there's a lot of matchups. We talked about him earlier. And I think that keeps him, and you could always plug and play him. He could fight for the world title one month, even if he doesn't win it, he could fight for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's perfect. The difference is that when Jack Perry wouldn't have that same star power going to WWE.
No.
Nothing against him. Now you have to unseat one of their pillars.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand we don't talk about pillars in WWE, but there is some right now.
Yeah.
There's some that are very big and very strong. If you ask me right now, because like I said, what do I think of pillars? I think of pillars as the strong mid-card guys that are going to be the main eventers. They're going to be the world champions. They can even peek into that main event and come back and forth, but they're there to hold up the card.
Yep.
They're there to hold up the main eventers. They're there to be the workhorses, if you will.
Agreed.
So if you go by that philosophy in WWE, you have Obafemi.
Oh, yeah.
You have Trick Williams.
Yep.
You have Ethan Page, which is kind of, and you have Javon Evans. And I'm just talking about men. We're not doing, I think there's a whole separate list for women in both companies.
Absolutely.
But when you're doing that list, and we already know Obafemi's going to be a world champion probably by year's end.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Trick Willie will be a world champion, mark my words, by next year's end.
At least.
Ethan Page is probably going to be a world champion in the next couple years.
Yeah.
And Javon Evans, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not. They've been looking forever for the next Rey Mysterio with a mask. I don't think he needs a mask.
No.
He's going to be that next smaller wrestler who is so death-defying, you have to give him a main event slot.
The number of times I see Javon Evans do a thing in a match that make me say, holy bleep, it's a lot. And the other one I think we need to mention too, Braun Breaker.
Well, absolutely. Like I said, there's other guys. I was just going with 4 just because it's
yeah.
But Braun Breaker could be on that list. Logan Paul, as much as he's controversial, is on that list. And the list goes on and on. But here's my thing. When you bring Jack Perry over, as talented as he is, now you haven't been here. So now you have to unseat one of those guys.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he can't do it. It's just an uphill fight. You can stay in a company where you're already the pillar guy, where you're already on the cusp. You're the only one of the original pillars who hasn't been the world champion. We know it's going to happen. Or, and mind you, if he would have done this, it's respected too. Or you're going to have to go over the other side where you're, once again, both sides are bloated.
Right.
But at least over here, you have your spot that you've earned.
Right.
I'm not saying he was handed anything.
Right.
He earned it. Now you have to go over here and earn it again.
Yeah.
Now, granted, after he's been AEW World Champion, after this next contract, then you walk over there and it's a little easier.
Absolutely.
Ricky Saints is finally starting to hit his stride in WWE. Finally starting to hit his stride. You're going to have to hit that struggle like Ricky Saints did.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately for Ricky Saints, when he came over, as a big deal, and I still think Ricky Saints is super talented because he's, once again, checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he came over at the same time that Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Obafemi, and Ethan Page took off.
Yep.
Those guys all took off. They were like, okay, we got Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints is great. He's going to be a guy. That's why we're bringing him in. And then they went, oh, these other guys, though. These other guys have stepped up. These other guys want it. And it's not that Ricky doesn't, but he just came over at the wrong time.
Right.
If he would have came over 6 months before, probably would be a different story, right? So, and I think that's the same thing with Jack Perry. If I'm looking at it right now, you're still going to be sitting behind those guys. Not to mention the hungry talent in NXT. You got guys like Mason Rook. You've got guys like Tony D. You got guys like Evil, right? I refuse. I guess he's still.
Listen, I don't blame you.
But my point of the matter is you have these guys that are, and it's not that Jack's not hungry. I think he's very hungry. I don't want to be a takeaway.
Agreed.
But I understand. I would have stayed too. Plus, AEW's on the rise right now.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. Is let's go down the hypothetical road. Okay, he goes to WWE. Okay, he goes to NXT. NXT, he would thrive because listen, the men's roster on NXT, good, but I think there's a spot for him. So what happens when he inevitably reaches the end of his run in NXT? Let's face it, the men's roster, even in the mid-card level on Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, ain't going anywhere for a while. That I know the criticism for WWE for the last couple of years was, oh, they're on the older side. You know, they're on the higher end of the wrestling scale when it comes to age, but that's come back down the other way now. Yeah, you still have your elder statesmen, you still have your Roman Reigns, you still have your Cody Rhodes, you still have your Seth Rollinses. You know, even listen, I know he's probably going to retire in the next month or so, Brock Lesnar, but let's face it, those other guys that aren't the ones I mentioned, all on the younger side, all have a lot of time ahead of them, and that's not even besides the ones I'm not mentioning that are still waiting in the wings.
Absolutely. It is one of those. Wait a minute. Our fearless leader, Ty, chimed in.
Uh-oh.
As long as you have Dirty Dom, you're fine.
I mean, listen, facts are facts.
That is true. Once again, he's on that list too.
Dirtiest player in the game.
I will say we have to do those things.
Yeah.
You know, and listen, WWE has been, you know, I've said it on the show and I'll keep saying it. They've been creatively bankrupt for a little while.
Yeah.
Even with that talent. And so if I'm Jack Perry, I'm looking at that going, man, if they can't figure out a way to book absolute Ricky Starks,
yeah,
what the hell are they going to do with me? As a matter of fact, Forrest Kidd would probably be correct.
Yeah,
and that's the terrible side of it, right? All right, so we're rounding those bases, and we got one big elephant left in the room.
Yeah,
WWE main event of Monday Night Raw. By the way, give them credit for a company that I have been famously saying is creatively bankrupt. I'm going to give them a kudos, even though I'm also going to take something away, but it's not bad.
Sure.
They did something that I love when WWE was good and firing on all cylinders a few years ago.
Feels like forever.
It feels like forever ago. They would do these really cool things, like have these storylines that played out over one night. And so, and I've always said that when they do that, it's great. AEW has now adapted to doing that as well. We've seen that in a few episodes of Dynamite where a story is told in opening segment, middle, it continues throughout the show, and then finishes in the. I think that when you want people to tune in, long-term booking, to what Paul Heyman always says, is great. However, also great is when you get to, you know, pay people off for watching the show. So they did a cool thing where basically we were getting the rematch for the undisputed WWE Championship.
Yes.
Your champion, Sami Zayn, taking on the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, in Chicago, 9 days after he defeated Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship in Saudi Arabia. So here we go, you know, and we open the show, of course, interview segment. You know, in the back, Cody Rhodes talk about getting the belt back. You have a little run-in with Sami Zayn, who's like, listen, you just think that you're going to make me a transition champ. It's not happening, kid. And then out of nowhere, we get Gunther. Gunther takes out Cody Rhodes. And I think he did a great job taking him out.
Absolutely.
So Gunther takes out Cody Rhodes, basically says, this should have been my shot. It's all because of Nick Aldis, which I hope this is leading. Hope this is leading to Nick Aldis versus Gunther at SummerSlam. Give it to me. Give it to me now. Okay. But we have Aldis. So now we have the storyline continuing with Aldis and Gunther. I think the boss chimed in. Give me Aldis versus Gunther. That's true. So now we have all this going on. We have this storyline being pushed forward with Gunther and Aldis. We now have Gunther barred from the building. We have
Aldis was suspended.
We have Pierce and Aldis getting into it, continuing the storyline. We have now, oh my God, can Cody Rhodes compete? And we have Sami Zayn looking like he's going to get real lucky. And then the chips start to fall.
Because Sammy, if I'm not mistaken, was ready to let the chips lie and go, you know what? Why don't we leave this for Friday and sort it out on Friday?
Yeah, pretty much, which was great. It was a great, somewhat heel move to make. Because we have to remember, he's still kind of a heel right now. So, I'm once again giving all this praise. So then we find out Cody Rhodes ain't going to be able to go.
Even though he's willing to go.
Even though he's willing. It's just not good for medical, which made sense. We saw the beating. We saw the car door hit him in the head. You know? Listen, if we're treating things as a real sports storyline, somebody concussion protocol says he's got to go get looked at, right? So perfect storytelling. And then we get the, you know, Adam Pearce, general manager of Raw, who's now filling in for both shows because of what's been going on between Aldis and Gunther. Says, you know what? I'm still a Raw guy. I promised the WWE Undisputed Championship was going to be defended on the show. And God,
promised the crowd.
Gosh damn it, it's going to be. We got a guy that's going to fight you.
Well, he was trying to find a guy, but he couldn't find somebody.
Right.
Nick Aldis made the call.
Right. Nick Aldis says, we got a guy. we got a guy in the building. It's going to fight you.
Mm-hmm.
So Sami Zayn, much to his chagrin, has got to go to the ring. By the way, this is the part where it's like, okay, how obvious could we be who the guy is?
I mean, there was part of me that was thinking, wouldn't it be a swerve of all swerves if Sheamus walked in at that moment?
That's a shameful thing.
But if it was anywhere other than Chicago, that percentage would have gone up. But the fact it's in Chicago,
there's one guy.
Uh-huh.
We knew it. Worst kept secret in wrestling, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Because other than the fact that I'm very judgmental, you know, Sami Zayn comes to the ring. The crowd is obviously at this point in juncture. They've been chanting CM Punk all night.
I said as I was watching, if this is anyone but CM Punk, the crowd's going to riot.
Oh yeah, that crowd was fever pitched. And by the way, you got the extended like no music.
Rollins came out at the start and was chanting CM Punk, and he's like, "All right, listen, get it out of your system."
Yeah, get it out of your system. I don't even care about him. I'm getting a shot, which
Yeah.
you know, I like that segment too.
Yeah.
You know, because LA's got a lot of good points.
He's not wrong.
He ain't wrong.
Yeah, wrong.
They're letting him tell the truth, if you will. But then we get the door going up.
Yep.
Like, I'm being judgmental of this. They should have hit the music because at that point, like to the TV audience, I get to the house audience, the door going up, you start to see the kick pads. We know who the hell it is.
Yeah.
I get that, right?
Yeah.
But we get the reveal. It's Punk. He walks halfway through the backstage. Then the music finally kicks in. Crowd's going nuts. Well, they're going nuts as soon as they realize it's him. They're going nuts even more when the music hits.
Yep.
Punk comes to the ring. It's the big Chicago welcome. He's back. We haven't seen him since WrestleMania. Well, the night after, technically.
Night after,
But we haven't seen him since then. He is back from vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, storyline-wise, perfect. Remember what he said that night after WrestleMania to Cody Rhodes.
I think WWE even posted it on their socials.
I'll be around for when an opportunity falls into my lap.
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy, Cody Rhodes getting taken out was an opportunity in Chicago for the Second City Saint to have a championship opportunity fall into his lap.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is after finding out that Money in the Bank won't be until October.
Yeah.
Which was weird to me, but you know, whatever. I don't think we don't have to comment. Maybe next week we'll talk about that a little more after it settles in, but that was weird.
Yeah.
But anyways, going back to what's at hand, CM Punk takes on Sami Zayn in a very good match.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, your winner and the new WWE Undisputed Champion, the Second City Saint, the best in the world, CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk comes back from vacation, becomes your world champion, and the internet does what the internet does. It is going crazy on both ends. I love shout outs to my friend Walt, who I always talk wrestling to. Me and Walt were messaging each other, and it was instantly like, so when Punk wins, you know, the internet's going to melt down. I'm like, if Punk loses, the internet's going to melt down.
Yep.
This is the same internet that Sami Zayn won, and all of a sudden, the beloved Sami Zayn became the pariah. But this happened before. This is what I always argue. This happened with Kofi Mania. Remember Kofi? Everybody's behind him. He wins, and everybody's like,
all right.
And then they pretended they were mad when Brock Lesnar squashed him, just like people pretended they were mad that Sami Zayn got disrespected because 9 days after he won, CM Punk becomes your champion. Save me with that stuff.
Yeah.
You can't, the same accounts that were talking smack about how Sami Zayn wasn't championship material are the same ones going, I can't believe they made him lose. If he was elsewhere, they would have disrespected him. If he was elsewhere, he wouldn't even be champion.
A few of those.
And not a disrespect to Sami Zayn, who I love and who's one of the best wrestlers in my opinion of all time.
Agreed.
But if he was in AEW, you're telling me you're going to interject him into Osprey and Omega and MJF right now, or even Swerve Strickland, who's the franchise? Come on. And once again, no disrespect to him. It's the same thing I said about Jack Perry.
Mm-hmm.
So don't say if he was over here, it would be different, because it wouldn't. He's going to sit behind those guys, and rightfully so. Just like in this case, people were complaining. It was stale already. It was. Most people say, hey, they gave it to him because of the pop and da-da-da-da-da. So why not go where we're going?
Right.
We already knew that the goal was to go Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk at SummerSlam. You're trying to do a 2-night event at a huge stadium in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Which we already know we're going to get Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Whether you like the fact that Obafemi pulled the Cody after winning his second Royal Rumble and is basically saying, well, I earned a title shot by being king of the ring, but that doesn't matter.
Right.
Which is still baffling to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so that's how we get Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why you have to interject LA Knight in to be the voice of Jimmy Cricket, if the fans' voice at this point, right?
Yep.
No offense. But I thought that this was done, because what was your other alternative, Pat? Your other alternative was to have Cody Rhodes just come out there and regain the title and be the 4-time champion, and then to have CM Punk return at the end of the show.
Yep.
And then we're setting up SummerSlam.
Yep. No, I mean, listen, before Cody got taken out in the show, everyone was figuring he was going to beat Sammy anyway. I think the only other possibility this could have played out, and it couldn't have because he's out injured, is if Kevin Owens could have come out and challenged Sammy for the belt. No. Listen, you give me Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at SummerSlam for the belt, sign me up. Absolutely. But we know Kevin Owens is currently out with injury, and we don't know if he's going to come back. So you don't have that possibility. And let's face it, some of us early NXT viewers would have a lot of feelings watching Kevin Owens come out on a wrestling ramp when Sami Zayn is champion again.
Well, I mean, and to your point, if Kevin Owens could come back, you could have ended this episode very differently. You could have had CM Punk get the shot. You could have had Kevin Owens help CM Punk not win.
Yep.
And then at the end of the match, Sami Zayn happy to see his buddy, and then his buddy does the NXT business. And once again gives him the power bomb on the apron. And like, listen, I didn't come out. And then the promo's simple. I didn't come out there to help you beat CM Punk.
Right.
I came out there because I know I can beat you easier than I can beat anybody else.
Right.
So I'm going to come out there so I can get the belt from you.
So your alternative is, okay, we keep Sami Zayn champion. Listen, I got nothing against Sami Zayn. One of the best wrestlers, in the company right now. Absolutely deserved his title opportunity and to win that title. But you're realistically going to tell me that, okay, we're going to put butts in the seats by doing Cody Rhodes versus Sami Zayn at our second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Any other pay-per-view? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But your second biggest pay-per-view of the year, never mind the fact that you're doing it 2 nights and you've got to contend with Roman going up against Seth for the whatever time it is, and Roman's never beaten Seth technically.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, you're going up against Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi in what everyone is presuming to be the final match of Brock Lesnar's career. And you're expecting a title match with Sammy and Cody to contend with that?
And let's take it a step further, because I will take it this step further. I know some people might not, but you are also you're up first. You're at the beginning of August,
right,
with your big event. AEW is running a gigantic event at the end of August.
Right.
And we already know that they have a great women's title match set up, regardless of whether it's Willow versus Mercedes or Tekla versus Mercedes. You have a great main event match for the world title, whether it's Osprey versus Omega, which presumably it will be,
right,
or Osprey versus MJF, which it could be, right?
Right.
You have the possibility of that, we're speaking into existence.
Yep.
That 4-way tables, ladders, and chairs match for the tag team titles. You have the rest of that undercard is going to be phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
And so if I'm WWE, even though we're up first and it's at the beginning of the month, you have to go, we need to put on the best show. We got to load the deck. We have to load the deck because we need people to say, oh, SummerSlam was great. And that needs to carry us through, because then when they run their show, we need to hope that they fall on their face, which I don't think they're going to. And I don't think WWE's dumb enough to believe that either.
No.
But at least they have to put up the marquee to be like, okay, we got star after star.
Yes.
We got the Trick Willies of the world on the show. We got the Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. We got the Roman versus Seth, which is the story, whether we're making fun of it or not. And then, hey, how do we top it?
Yeah.
We have the undisputed title on the line, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
There's a lot of story there, and they're 2 of the biggest draws in the wrestling business. I do not blame them at all. And possibly, to the point of the Boss and Us, possibly Aldis and Gunther.
Oh, listen, that's gonna be marquee.
I listen, for wrestling fans, for the Graps fans, if you will, that will be marquee.
Yeah. There's a lot of folks who aren't familiar with Nick Aldis's body of work,
and they're gonna get familiar.
Start looking up footage, folks.
By the way, and it's a perfect match for him.
Absolutely.
His style and Gunther's style.
Absolutely.
So close. So both of them are catch wrestlers. Both of them are strong style. It's going to be great.
It's going to be real stiff.
It's going to be great. So I hope that happens. So, but you know what? WWE, like I said, I think that in a smart booking decision, they made the right choice.
Absolutely.
You go with a hot hand. And they did it in an interesting way, which made me enjoy Raw more.
Oh, yeah.
Because we went from Cody Rhodes getting taken out to him being taken out of the match. And then, like I said, yes, I'm not a dumbass. You're not. We know that it's going to be CM Punk.
Yep.
But they played the cards right.
Yep.
They milked the crowd for what it was. We all knew it was coming, but guess what? We were all excited when it happened. Not like the fake reaction people, but we were still excited.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as I seen the kick pads, I went, oh, yeah. I'm waiting for it. I know it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't as great as when he returned at Survivor Series, because
Survivor Series, I dropped my remote.
We heard the rumor And then we went, and then we saw them pulling the camera back. We saw the graphic, and we forgot Triple H.
Forgot the Triple H rule.
Forgot the Triple H rule for NXT, that it ain't over till the actual show goes to black.
I know folks who turned that stream off.
And I'm sitting there in the hotel. I was actually in a hotel room watching with George, and boom! All of a sudden, we got bam! It hit, and everybody was like, I just went yes. Wait a minute. We got it would only have been better if he came out to AFI for one more night.
Oh, please.
We got to hold on to the AFI stuff, because like you can't come out all the time to AFI. You just did it at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Oh, it just did it at WrestleMania, kid. I know being greedy and all, but damn, we gotta spread the AFI licensing out. I don't know what they're charging for Misery Cat.
Not as much as Europe does.
Yeah.
That's all I know. That's all I know. I know what Europe's fee is, and it ain't that much.
Dude, Tony Khan has also said that Europe was charging a lot of money.
Oh, I know. That's why the one who was it? The one car insurance commercial that did it years ago. I was like, wow, you were shoveling out money for this.
I mean, it's worth. Listen, I'll say this: that when they were using it for Danielson, was smart.
Oh yeah,
because they picked the right times.
Yep,
it was perfect.
Yep.
Anyways, overall, I think it was the right decision.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still have to see the final product. We still have some time. We got next week. We'll be talking about Saturday. It's main event.
Yep.
Because that'll be going down to Madison Square Garden a week from Saturday.
Danhausen will get a Stone Cold.
Week. Is this Saturday or Sunday this time? I can't remember. It's one of the days.
I want to say it's Sunday.
I think it is. I think it's a Sunday one instead of Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm so used to calling it Saturday's main event though. Yeah. But it's next week.
Because I know there's a Conor McGregor fight this weekend, and ain't nobody going near that thing.
So we're going to be waiting on bated breath there. Coach Danhausen in the New York Knicks.
He's going to get a Stone Cold Steve Austin in his prime pump.
My EO Sky, New York, your world champion, New York Knicks. That's right. We'll be there in Danhausen's corner. At least Jalen Brunson. Possibly the whole team.
Brunson will guaranteed be there.
Brunson's guaranteed. Possibly the whole team outside that. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, I think it was the right decision.
Oh, agreed, 100%.
And I love Sami Zayn. I've loved Sami Zayn, and I know I usually make the joke about El Generico, but I've loved Sami Zayn since he was El Generico. And he's a very talented wrestler. And Ken chimed in. It's next Saturday, so it is Saturday, July 18th. Okay, yeah. There's one that's coming up that's Sunday. I know we got the press release for it. That's what I was confused about. Everything's starting to meld together.
You're not wrong.
But hey, like overall, I think it was a great week of wrestling.
Yeah,
I think that WWE set a great tone with the CM Punk World Championship win on Raw. I think also the tag title win and the Maxine Dupree turn.
Yeah, they finally pulled that trigger.
Which we didn't even talk about really, but that was cool.
I know they've been alluding to it, but they finally decided to do it.
Although I will take the minute to say this, I'm super confused that you made it a focal point of a television show that she was is married in real life to Anthony Luke. To only be like, okay, she's in a romantic thing with Theory, which isn't real.
That crossed my mind as they were fading to the next segment.
And I understand people are gonna be like, well, it's acting, Rich, and people are married. We know Dominic Mysterio's married too. Yeah, but Dominic's wife isn't on television.
Right.
You didn't make it a focal point of the story.
He only talks about it in interviews.
Right. Yeah. But interviews are talking to the real person.
Right.
When you're in the storyline, we've never had his wife show up on she's been in the crowd. She's never showed up as part of the storyline.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, because before that, he was with Mommy. Now he's been with Liv. It's fine. We understand it's acting.
Yep.
And I'm fine with that.
Yep.
My point is that on a thing that they publicized really hard, Maxine Dupree had her wedding and everything. Yep. By the way, Ken has pointed out it's the Labor Day weekend for the Sunday.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
But
yeah, I digress. But yeah, that I still did like the turn. Hopefully they do something good with Maxine Dupree because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that.
Oh, absolutely. She's getting better, definitely over time.
But once again, WWE started off. We got the title changes between the tag titles, the world title, and the main event.
Yeah.
You go to AEW. They capitalized on it, give us a new international champion in a tremendous match, and then of course end the night with Kenny Omega becoming world champion, finishing and giving us a story run that, like I said, I do believe will go through Wembley. I truly believe it'll be Ospreay Omega. I think that's where the money is. Not that there's not money with MJF. If they do go back, I understand that. But I think if you really want, let's get that big match feel, that match of the year feel for the main event of Wembley. And I think that Wembley crowd is going to appreciate, not that they wouldn't appreciate MJF. They've seen MJF in the main event there a couple times.
Yeah.
Let's get somebody else in the main event.
I will say the thing with Sammy too is if you haven't seen the promo he cut after the match was over, and I think they were already in the dark segment match for that show, because I know it got posted super late the night after Raw. If you haven't seen the promo Sammy cut that's on WWE socials, go watch that, because oh boy.
Also look at the comments, because Big Jim put a little blood drop in there. So because we know we have to keep the bloodline's got to keep going on, baby. It's like the NWO. I keep saying.
What inning are they in now? Are they in the 5th inning?
I don't know. I mean, if you ask Paul Heyman, he's booking WrestleMania main event 2 years from now.
We're 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd.
Oh my God. At this point in juncture, I'm sorry. I've said it before. I understand they don't have the membership roster, but
bring in the reliever.
I think it's time to get off that ride. Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. The other channel is picking up steam, guys. You need to do something. You know, it's going to get to that point where it's going to be the Simpsons meme. You know, it's not fair.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Wembley could be that turn. Unfortunately, that's why WWE. I think this was a smart move. WWE has to have a strong SummerSlam.
Yeah,
because you can't concede if SummerSlam does not go over well. You are really handing AEW a win, because Wembley's going to go over.
Oh yeah, because it's like you've already said, Seth versus Roman, Brock versus Oba. We know Liv is facing Io Sky. And then you're looking at possibly Nick Aldis versus Gunther. That is already a strong start, and that's only 4 matches.
And then we're guaranteed on Friday, or if not after, because Punk will be on SmackDown.
Right.
We're going to find out that it's going to be Punk
versus Cody. So there's 5 matches on a 2-night card. That is already a strong start.
Yeah. So I think that they have to. I think it's a good, solid business move.
Yeah. No issues with
From the land of creative bankruptcy. They're starting to try to. Maybe they're trying to come alive a little bit. They've seen those gate sales.
That does certainly raise the eyebrows.
Other than Danhausen, we're not selling much merch, brother.
Yeah, it's true. God. Danhausen merch easier to get than Nick's championship merch.
By the way, my Jalen Brunson jersey just shipped.
Oh Lord!
My championship patch jersey. I mean, I knew it was actually it's early. They told me the estimated was 7/16 from Fanlight.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen some stuff online of folks merch actually getting canceled.
Mine didn't, thankfully. I was nervous. I did get the hat earlier than I thought. But I will say this: that site.
If you
didn't think Knicks fans existed, that site was I couldn't. I was talking to Ken on the phone and trying to order at the same time. And like it kept crashing. I had to keep going back. And finally I got my order in, because I was hoping to get in before my size of the Brunson jersey was right, because I wanted the one with the championship patch.
Of course.
Anyways, I digress. Once again, we're getting off topic, but that brings us to the end of the show. We will be back next week. Of course, to talk all things pro wrestling and everything that goes down between now and then. Once again, I'd like to thank Padawan Jay for stopping in. We'll have to have you back at some time. Maybe we'll do some big roundtable episodes when we get into the big shows.
Could do that.
You know, and not the big show. Well, it's the big show. If only that was public, property at this point, we could plug and play, right? But we'll definitely have to do that. But for everybody out there, until we talk to you again. For myself, for Padawan Jay,
the Astros,
and for the rest of the FLZ Wrestling Team, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and most importantly, later wrestling fans.